we've identified 4 range management principles: proper stocking, balanced distribution, deferred spring grazing, and effective rest. But what do we do with these principles? How do we put them into effect? The answer is grazing systems. At their simplest, grazing systems are nothing more than schedules indicating when and where livestock are to graze. Over time, a long list of grazing systems have been developed. We're only going to look at a few: continuous grazing, rotational grazing, deferred rotational grazing, and complementary grazing. Continuous grazing means grazing a range all season long. On most rangelands, continuous grazing will damage the fields. But on dry, flat prairie ranges, continuous grazing can work, providing the livestock are stocked and distributed properly.
There are still people that graze in a field for the full grazing, for full 5 months of, and I don't know, to me, it isn't near as efficient, because the old cow likes to come back and graze these same spots again and again, and your hilltops never get used.
When we want to scatter cattle throughout a field, we try and keep the salt as far away from water as is feasible, and also keep the salt as high as possible to draw the cattle up into the higher country. We've also done a lot of water development and try to get our water sources as high up in the field as possible.
Rotational grazing means dividing your range into smaller fields and then moving your livestock from one field to the next. The smaller fields let you bunch the animals closer together. That makes for better distribution and a more uniform graze. The shorter grazing periods mean the animals are less likely to graze the regrowth, and rotating through the fields makes it easy to provide effective rests after grazing.
Some people think that when you're rotating pastures that there's a possible negative effect on the calf and cow performance. But stop and think about one thing. This is a section of ground. The fences all lead to a water hole. These cattle are moved with minimum stress. For example, last night my daughter, my wife, and I came up, and in 15 minutes we had the cows moved from the 1/4 section down to the dam. We shut the gate and we opened another gate. So they only moved basically across a fence line. We have seen no negative effect. In fact, I would suspect that we've seen a positive gain in weight because the grass has been so much better looked after and so much volume for the calves to get at.
And another thing, problem areas, you'll always have certain areas where cattle tend to congregate. That will, if you leave cattle in the field year-round, it just becomes bare ground. But when you rotate, these areas have a chance to get grassed back in, and it just works wonders. Trails the same way, trails leading to and from salt boxes and water holes get a chance to grass in and eliminate a lot of erosion that way.
To defer grazing means to delay grazing for a critical part of the growing season. Flowering, for example, or seed ripening. Deferred rotation means all fields are given at least one rest for a critical part of the growing season, and that rest is alternated from year to year. On this range, for example, the field that's grazed early is rested during the mid and late parts of the season. The field that's grazed in the middle part is rested during the early and late parts of the season. And the field that's grazed late is rested during the early and middle parts of the season. In the second and third years, the pattern shifts, so that the field that was grazed early in year 1 is now grazed in the mid part of year 2 and the late part of year 3. With deferred rotation, the plants and not the calendar determine when to rotate, which is really what it should be.
Our philosophy on the native range is the country was actually designed for winter range for buffalo. So the later you use it, the more compatible you're being with the species that have evolved here over the years. And to use it as a winter field would be the best use for it. It blows open. The creek runs most of the winter without opening any ice. And it just seems to give the cool season grasses that are here the best chance of survival.
Rotation does quite a number of things, but first of all, it gives the field a chance to rest and to rejuvenate itself. So if you graze a field early one year, when you move the cattle out, it has a chance to recover, and the next year you'll graze it later in the season so it has a chance to mature in the spring. So a field never gets grazed at the same time 2 years in a row, and you get a much healthier stand of grass.
This is a field of crested wheatgrass, seeded for no other reason than for spring grazing. The rancher here has native pastures, but he keeps his cattle off them until mid-June. Until then, this is where they graze. In effect, this tame pasture complements the native pastures, hence the term complementary grazing.
The biggest benefit to using this field early is for the rest of the ranch. As far as what it produces, what it does is it puts the cows in a holding pattern and everything else gets a start. And we don't tend to graze any native range until after it's headed. And then we use it lightly, and then we move to the Waldron Grazing Co-op for 4 to 5 months, and then we've virtually got a virgin stand to come back to if moisture conditions are anything like normal. Our native range never gets grazed before the 1st of June. And usually later than that, because we can usually steal a little bit of extra grass on the field to the west, and the later we can hold off going on to native range, the better off we feel we are.
Of all the systems we've talked about, the easiest to implement are the complementary and deferred systems. Fortunately, both systems take stress off the plants during the critical growing season. As for which system is the best, can't answer that. It all depends on the operation. Each one is unique. Now, just in case all this talk about grazing systems has caused some of you to forget the principles of range management, let's review. Proper stocking rates, good distribution, deferred spring grazing, and of course, effective rest. Adopting these 4 principles into your farm or ranch management program will help you make your rangelands healthy and productive. Range management. It's good for the environment. It's good for the farm. It means consistent yields year after year and a cushion against drought. That alone will offset the cost of implementing any grazing system.
We all have to become a student of the range, a student of the grass. There's more to learn about it. It has to be taken care of in a different manner than monoculture agriculture in our cereal grains.
I want to leave the land better for the future generation than what I found it. That's my philosophy, my personal goal.
We try to get as much as we can feasibly out of the land, but we have to be prepared to leave a little there. Overgrazing is quite obviously a mistake.
And it goes back to the old adage of the ranchers who have used the range for many years, that it takes grass to make grass.
You know, you can tell your value of better range for just livestock in general is that the healthier your range is, the healthier your cows are going to be.
That all ties back to knowing the plants, knowing the soils, understanding how they respond to management, and you yourself having a sharp eye to be able to observe and make judgments as to whether your management is effective or not.
Rangelands. Native plant communities that depend on management for their survival. The responsibility is ours. Let's show that we're up to it.